Are you too busy? Too stressed out? Unhealthy? Then this is the place for you. Welcome to Balanced Living for Busy Professionals, where we help you create wellness and balance with a holistic approach that will work for you, even with the busiest of schedules, so you can live the life you want. And now, here's your host, Diane Randall.
Welcome back to another life-changing episode of the Balanced Living for Busy Professionals podcast series, Integrating Life Balance Your Way. I'm Diane Randall, your host. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you are new to the show, welcome. It's really exciting to have you here and listening. Each episode will leave you with the best, insightful, life-changing wisdom and inner tools, and also provide you with actionable steps that sustain real change, even with the busiest schedule. This episode reflects my intention for what this podcast is all about, helping you break free from any habits and patterns that may be keeping you stuck in place. And it doesn't matter how busy your schedule is, you can improve your life to have what you truly want. Today, you're going to get some key points on how to create life balance your way, key points that you can integrate today. In this episode, you'll hear my interviews with three of the most busiest, successful professionals who have integrated life balance into their daily lives, and they have joy and they have their health, well-being, success to show for it. And not just that, they've gained clarity. Their priorities reflect what they want in their life, and they have found meaning and joy with what they do in their life every day. So I wanted them to come here and share the reality of what work-life balance is about once it's integrated in life. I talk to many people, clients, friends, that tell me that they don't have time for life balance. It's a myth. It's not true. They don't have time to make changes necessary to improve their life. And I want to advocate today that if you take control of your life by integrating some life balance habits that are created to support you in whatever you do in your life, you will be able to show up fully and do all the things you love to do. And this life balance integration is a combination of clarity, priorities, fulfillment, meaning. It's not just about the doing. It's about how do you do things to support yourself and renew yourself so that you can show up fully in your life, not just for yourself and then for everyone else. I'll also share 4 of my best tips to help you define and integrate your own personal life balance. I want to ask you a question. What is it costing you to not have some balance in your life? What if I told you that you can easily define and integrate life balance right now? So many of you say that you have no time for work-life balance. You don't even want to think about it, but yet your life reflects all the signs of being unhappy and out of balance. My first guest is Sarah Dale, business owner and caregiver and wife to a disabled veteran. My second guest is Laura Cheek, a New York-based architect turned entrepreneur and founder and CEO of Cheek, a newly launched hyperspeed Bluetooth mobile dating app. You'll hear from Adam Hergenrother, CEO of Hergenrother Enterprises. Adam has built 6 thriving businesses in less than 10 years through his commitment to personal development, continuous growth, and work-life integration. My guests are here to share with you real-time life balance and what it looks like in their lives. And I'm so excited that they're here to share their inspirational lives with you. So keep listening. I'd like to introduce Sarah Dale. Sarah is a business owner, artist, filmmaker, and caregiver to a disabled veteran, and she finds time for balance. And I've invited her here today to share her experience and how she has a life of balance, even with her busy schedule. Welcome, Sarah Dale.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to talk with you and not to mention hear from all the other folks that you're talking about. As you know, I'm not an expert at this. I've been working really hard at it, but it's a balance, and a practice. I still have more to learn.
You have more to learn. There's ebbs and flows, and there's it's all a process. But what I want you to tell the listeners is, how do you define balance for your personal life?
For me, it's a practice of constantly figuring out what I need, in that moment, that day, that season of life, to put on my own oxygen mask first, because all of my work is about helping veteran caregivers and military families like myself. So I really pour myself and my story and everything I've learned into my work. So if I'm not taking care of myself, then I can't be at my best in all of my work. And not to mention, in my life as well, and all of my relationships and my family. So my balanced living looks like this constant practice of figuring out what works, what doesn't work, shifting. I learn something new. I take that and I put it into practice. I try it out. It's a dance. Ebbing and flowing is the perfect way, how you put it.
Yeah. Ebbs and flows. It changes every day. And if you could just describe for us in your daily life, how does that show up?
There are just so many things that I could name. There are a million ways, but as I really think about it, it all comes down to boundaries for me. That's how I describe it. And that's something I learned. It was a concept I learned at a Love Reboot weekend that was a part of the Growing Love Network. My husband and I went to this conference in San Antonio, and that's where we first learned about boundaries. And sometimes people get scared of that word, like they're rules, that you're imposing on yourself or other people are putting on you, and that doesn't feel good. But actually, boundaries that we set up for ourselves can help us feel so good. There's a lot of freedom in that. And there's so much, health and vitality when we set up systems that set ourselves up for success. So I have a million, things I could tell you that I do, but that's what it all comes down to, is that I figure out these things that I can do in my life that get me to where I want to be, happier, healthier, etc.
Well, you mentioned healthier, happier. The next question I was going to ask you is how has your life improved because of the way you've integrated balance in your life with the boundaries and the other things you've spoken about?
It's improved so much. I have an amazing life. Like you said, I get to do a lot of different things. I work for myself. I run my own graphic design business. I'm also an artist. I work on a number of fine art projects as well as a filmmaker. I also didn't tell you that I'm an aspiring actor.
Oh my goodness, you are busy.
Actor as well, and an advocate, for military families. And I wouldn't be able to do, everything that I do unless I was taking care of myself, as well as, taking care of my husband, and helping him when he needs help. So when I am focusing on getting the things, that I need, like sleep, proper exercise, healthy diet, enough play and rest, then I'm able, to be more alive than I ever have been in my life and have the most energy that I've ever had. And it just opens you up to an incredible life. I've totally been there in the, slogging away behind the computer at the corporate job and, going through that cycle of managing uppers and downers. I did the cycle that I needed a couple cups of coffee to get me going in the morning and had to do all these things to motivate myself to keep going throughout the day, at my crappy, life-sucking job. And then when I got home, I had to have 2 to 4 glasses of wine to bring me back down, watch a few hours of TV before I could go to bed and get up and do it all over again. And
so what I'm hearing you saying, in the past, it cost you something in your life not to have the balance habit in the past.
Absolutely. Yeah. I felt awful, and that's not the case today, because I work so hard at taking care of myself, and it's so much better on the other side. It really is. If you put in the effort, just one piece at a time. It just takes like one little trick, one little habit. And that's how I've done this shift. It hasn't happened overnight. It's happened over years of just choosing like one new little habit to put in or to cut out to get me, to where I am today.
Awesome. And if you could share one tip or give advice on how a busy professional could integrate balance in their life, what would you tell them to get started?
The one thing that I did that I think led to everything else that's been so helpful for me is that what I started doing is listening to audiobooks in my commute. And I would listen to audiobooks that were positive, that were uplifting, that taught me something new, taught me a new way to change or improve my life. So on my way to work, I'd be filling my brain, with these new ideas, these new ways to lead, a more full life. And so I'm filling my head with that positive energy. And then as I'm reading the book, then I start adopting one of those practices. And I just kept doing this, and it just kept building, like one book after another. So that is really my main secret to this, is that I flood my brain with all of this positive energy and these positive tools and ideas. And then slowly, one by one, I try them out and see if it works for me. And if it does, then I hang on to it and keep going.
That's so awesome, because what we do know is that work-life balance or life balance, work-life integration, whatever the word is you want to use, that it is a customizing of the things you need in order to help you live your life more fully and to be able to do everything that you feel you need to do in your life to support yourself and your family and all the people around you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I read books, but also listen, to podcasts, ones like the one that you're doing, that maybe not everything, from that episode or that chapter fits in your life, but you take away the things that are going to work for you after you've, tested them out.
Right. It's about, like you said, listening to the audios, reading, listening to other things that the experts and other people may be doing. And then if something resonates, you take that and see if it fits. And another thing I say is that may fit for a while, but then your life change, things shift. So guess what? You just shift again.
Right. Exactly.
So it's just an ever-changing process.
It is. Yeah. And it depends on what's happening with, my family that day or that week. And also I think that, seasons change and work schedules change. And sometimes our needs shift a little bit. There have definitely been times in my life that I need more sleep, than I did before. Or perhaps I could get away with, a little less rest, and there's a difference to me between sleep and rest. There's a time that you're sleeping, your eyes are closed and you're in bed, like that is sleep. But then rest to me is being awake and doing something, restful, whatever that is for you, exercising, walking in the woods, playing with your dog, meditating, cooking. It's different for everyone. And that's another key thing I think in finding balance, is finding what works specifically for you. Like a couple of those books that I read 2 books by Gretchen Rubin. She did The Happiness Project and Happier at Home. And there are a lot of things that she tried to, be happier at home, that I wouldn't have chosen those same things, but I listened to her process of how she got to that, and it helped me figure out what would work for me in that instance.
Well, you've certainly given us a lot of information that we can take and look at, and someone listening today can really hone into something you've said here to support them in their lives with integrating balance. So I want to really thank you, Sarah Dale, for coming on the Balanced Living for Busy Professionals podcast and sharing how you have integrated work-life balance or life balance, whatever the concept you want to choose into your life, with all the balls you have in your life, being a business owner, an artist, a filmmaker, caregiver to your husband. So I want to thank you so much. My guest is Lori Cheek, a New York-based architect turned entrepreneur, founder and CEO of Cheeked, a newly launched hyperspeed Bluetooth mobile dating app that removes the mist from missed connections. Hi, Lori. Welcome to Balanced Living for Busy Professionals.
Hi there. Thank you for having me.
It is so awesome to have you here. I talk to so many people, busy people who haven't been able to integrate life balance in their lives. And it's just so awesome to have you here to talk about how you define life balance.
Well, it's one of my favorite subjects.
Awesome. So how do you, with your busy schedule of being an entrepreneur, how do you keep yourself balanced with all the work you do as a busy professional?
You know, when I left my corporate career, I remember spending so many hours behind a desk with people just watching you come and go. And, you really couldn't do your own thing. And I was not in love with that life. But now, as an entrepreneur and founder of my own business, I'm working all the time. And on top of that, it's given me the freedom to kind of live my life the way I really like to. And, I became so stressed out when I started my business 6 years ago, and I found my release at the gym. And I have to tell you, I'm taking my interview with you from the gym right now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I just hopped off the elliptical trainer, and I don't know, it just brings me so much joy to have this as kind of the vessel for me for my work-life balance. And my favorite equipment is the cardio machine. So I love either getting on the bike or the elliptical trainer, and I'll take care of my emails and my tweets and all my social media while I'm working out. So it's like I'm multitasking, relieving stress and burning calories all at the same time.
So before you started to integrate a more balanced life, Lori, what was it costing you not to do anything and stay on that treadmill in marathon mode of go, 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 do, do, do?
I mean, I was very, very tightly wound. And, running your own business is, I think, way harder than working for someone else. So you almost have to force yourself to find a happy balance. And, even the time I've been able to take vacation, not that I'm not always working when I'm on vacation, but my life with my family has been completely altered, which is very healthy for me. I just flew home for the holidays and I'm here for 10 days. And that's because I'm my own boss and no one's looking for me and I can work anywhere, which is just an amazing thing to be able to spend this kind of time with my family that I was never able to do in my corporate career. So it's been another very helpful thing in building my business.
Building your business and also developing healthy habits. So how do you keep that going?
It's beyond a habit. It's part of my routine. I revolve my travel schedule when I take flights around how I'm going to get my workout in. And it's not an option unless I'm sick as a dog in bed and cannot move. I make it to the gym for at least an hour a day. So, and even if I have a really busy schedule, just like I'll schedule meetings and phone calls, I will put a workout class on my calendar that becomes just as much of a priority as my meetings and everything else I put on my calendar.
I love that you said that, because the majority of people that I work with and that I talk to say that it is their priorities that won't allow them to integrate work-life balance. But what I hear you say and what I always advocate is you have to make it a priority. So I want to thank you for saying that.
Well, something else that I've found really important is just surrounding yourself with positive people that are very supportive of what you're doing. And I also make it a priority to find social time to be with my friends at least a few days a week. I mean, I'm out networking for business at least 5 days a week, but then, I always try to find time to hang out with my friends and do things that are unplugged from work. So I either try to see a movie or two a week with a friend, or I schedule happy hours and get some of my friends together I haven't seen in a while. And I even created, my favorite game is Scrabble. And I've created a Scrabble meetup group, and I try to organize Scrabble meetups. I'm doing one on New Year's Day in New York City. So, just making time to have fun outside of all of the stress and the work involved in building what I consider my dream.
That sounds so awesome. And I want to thank you, Lori, for just sharing your experience and inspiring someone that's listening today on how they can start to integrate life balance into their life. Thank you so much, Lori, for talking to me.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Welcome, Adam Hergenrother, CEO of Hergenrother Enterprises. Man, you are busy, Adam. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Excited to be here and excited to serve your listeners.
Yeah, the reason I really wanted to talk to you is because you have 6 thriving businesses, but yet you commit to your personal development, your continuous growth, and your work-life integration. And I really want you to talk to the listeners about that, because most people that I talk to, busy professionals, say, I don't have time. I'm too busy to commit to anything in terms of life balance and all the other things that go with that. So can you share, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think, thanks again for having me on. I think it's the most common question that I get, or my staff gets, goes, well, does Adam just not sleep at night? And the funny thing is that's the furthest from the truth. I actually look at work-life balance as, in time, to a certain extent, as an illusion, right? It's the work-life balance is, I look at it as a work-life integration, right? It's work-life harmony that you can have together. So if you're going out there and you're succeeding at the highest levels for the things that you're doing, then you're truly not necessarily working all the time, but you're working on your business and developing who you need to be in order to consciously raise your own levels of success. So when we look at work-life balance, it starts with making sure that you're in and doing something that you have a passion for, so it doesn't feel like work. Now, there's some semantics before this as well, too, but that's the crux of it, is going out there and developing yourself so that you can become a better person. Because the better, as a leader in any organization, whether you're leading your siblings, whether you're leading your partner, your kids, other people around you, or just strangers, you have to dedicate an aspect of growth to yourself in order to allow anybody else to grow around you. How do you change people around you? You change yourself first. And the only way you can change yourself first is by constantly disrupting yourself on a daily basis. So I look at this as I define that as a way of making sure that you're putting your priorities first, so that your work-life balance first, so that you're making sure you're hitting these things on a daily basis.
I love that you said that, because that is the theme of the people who are really integrating work-life balance into their lives. And I love what you said. The idea that there's a separation between your work and your life is a myth.
It is, right? I mean, especially on days, especially now, right? I mean, before there was cell phones, there was a little bit of a work-life balance, right, in terms of separation, because you weren't remotely connected to every person and everything that you're doing constantly. But now we live in this world where almost it's an expectation that people are on. So and all of our employees and all of our organizations, we have unlimited paid vacation and no set hours and flexible time. Because the point is that if we're expecting you to be on a call at 7:00 at night, then if you want to go out and we got 6 inches of snow and you want to take the day off to go snowboarding, then wouldn't you be doing that? And by the way, that's where people gain the clarity. The reason why people are stuck in life is because they're staying in the same ruts all the time instead of getting out there and gaining clarity so they can look at a problem or an issue or situation differently.
And also, I heard you say just gaining clarity on who you are, because it seems like the theme with the people who have successfully integrated work-life balance is that they're doing things that they love.
Yeah, the gap between who you are and where you want to be is always going to be a who, and the first who is you.
I love that. So, was there a time when it was costing you not to have the work-life integration?
Yeah, there was. So when I first started succeeding in business, I first started making significant amounts of money, which I thought was what succeeding meant at the time. I was in my mid to late 20s. And I started becoming hubris, and I thought that I was like, look around. I was like, look at all the things I created, and look at all this stuff. And really, what I found out is nobody cared, right? Nobody actually cared. And so then I thought that when I reached a certain milestone of financial wealth, that I would feel a certain way. And I really wish I could just give everybody millions of dollars so they'd understand that actually what they're thinking, what they're looking for, is not actually what you're looking for at all. And in fact, it's actually the reverse. Is you're looking for the fulfillment of pouring into yourself and to other people. That's ultimately what's going to get you fulfillment in there. So when I went on and I embarked on this journey about 7 or 8 years ago now, of looking more of that fulfillment from a spiritual growth side, not like this I'm sitting on top of a cliff and meditating type thing, but more of how do I get inner fulfillment? Because there's this external world and this internal world, and I feel like I've been living this external world. So at that moment, I started putting things into play. I said, I've got to make a change, and I need to make something needs to happen in my life. And so that's when I started. My routine is I'm up every morning between 3:45 and 4:30. Mostly because I'm training for an Ironman, and so I'm up pretty early with bifurcating my workouts. But I meditate. The first thing I do is I go outside and get some fresh air, even if it's this morning it was 1 degree outside and I'm outside breathing that fresh air. I think it's invigorating. It shocks your system. And then I meditate for 20 minutes. And then I start getting into a whole series of journals. A journal for affirmations is all the things that I'm grateful for. And I start off with things that are small. Like I'm grateful for the smile. I'm grateful for the wind in my face. So it really grounds me to the things that are really nature, if you will, of bringing me back down to who we are. And then again, the grateful, this is just this habit of who am I grateful for, all the grateful things, I'm grateful for my health, everything that just comes and I get into a rhythm. So it's making and empowering me throughout my day. And then I get into a journal about each one of my kids, and I have 3 of them. And I journal about something that they did each day, the day before, that they said, they did, they experienced, they laughed at, whatever it was. And I use Evernote and I bring pictures into it to help illustrate them. But I want to make sure that I'm documenting everything that's happening in their life. So if something were to happen to me, they could see how I feel about them. And I struggle with being in the moment at times, and I still work on this on a daily basis. And then what I found is that by journaling, I know that the next day I need to come up with something that's different, that is purposeful about each one of my kids. And so in that moment, the day before, I'm actually able to spend more purposeful time figuring out what it is that I want. So it's just it's creating a disciplined habit for a period of time till it becomes second nature, figuring that out. And then I have one for my wife, which is the 365 things that I'm grateful for. At the end of each year, I put them together and I say, here are the 365 things that I'm grateful for. And then I have a journal just about my life. And this is, everything from the good, the bad, the ugly, just really gaining that clarity, getting it off, and just really embarking on clearing my day, putting down thoughts. That way, when I'm done this for the first 2 hours of my day, first of all, I'm done by the same time most people are getting up. And I just feel incredible. So I can go out there and be the best leader, the best husband, and the best father that I can be that day. And that's who I'm competing with. And then I look at my life and working in bursts. So then I come to the office and I work on a burst for 3 to 4 hours at a time. And it's very purposeful. So it's 8, 8:30, 9, whatever it is, it's just on the dot. I don't have moments of just going in there and just, unless they're scheduled to go around and walk around and talk to people. So I'm very purposeful on it. And then from 11:30 to 2, I block off again a period of time where I go back to the gym. I come back, I meditate for 20 minutes again, and I'm purposeful on what I eat. So I eat then as well too. So I'm making sure I have time to do all that. And then I work again in bursts in the afternoon, and from about 2 to about 4:30, 4:45. And then I'm usually home right after that with my kids so I can spend a couple hours purposeful time. Now, that being said, people say, well, how many structured hours you work? And it's about 30 to 35 hours a week. But it doesn't mean that I'm not having that work-life harmony that we're talking about. It doesn't mean that when I'm training for an Ironman for 3 hours on a bicycle that I'm not thinking about or gaining clarity about how to help pour into this person, or how to add value to this question, or to work on the questions that I continually ask myself so it improves who I am, or taking an awareness or objective look on who I've become over the last week or month or year so that I can become better. And that's at some point in your life, if you get a big enough business and world, your job is to become and read and think and become somebody differently. So the rest of your team has to continue to keep up with you. So the entire leadership lid increases.
That is just beautiful. When you talk about the burst, does that mean you're on and then you kind of renew yourself, you regenerate yourself a little bit in between the bursts?
Yeah, I'm not, I wish I could tell you that I could sleep for 4 or 5 hours and be this superhero, but I can't. Right?
Well, the reason I invited you on, I want to hear the realness of what life balance means.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, when it comes around 5:30, I'm done. I really am. I hear it's like sometimes people wear this badge, like they stay up to midnight and get 3 hours of sleep. Well, that doesn't work for me. And I think people just get used to that and they're not actually living the biggest life. And so I need a minimum of 7 to 8 hours sleep. So I'm in bed by 8:30, 9 o'clock the latest. I mean, last night I was in bed, I think before 8:15. And I put my kids to bed and I go to bed. I usually read or listen to Audible for a little bit and fall asleep. And so I'm purposeful in all aspects of my life. And the thing is, you have to learn to say no to a lot of things that show up, to say yes to the most important things that you really want to accomplish. So gaining clarity on what your priorities are in your life is key first. So you know actually what to say no to and what to say yes to.
That is so beautiful. And I really thank you for sharing with the listeners, because it's so hard for many people to understand what this life balance, balanced living, work-life integration, whatever you want to call it, is all about. And my intention is to just bring some reality to what it is for real people. So I want to thank you for being here and sharing your reality of life with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, again, I think most people like to put on a facade as if they're like this superhuman creature, but they're suffering in a whole bunch of other aspects of their life. And if they would just stop for a few minutes and realize that you can actually have wealth, which consists of spiritual, social, physical, financial, business, and spirituality of who you are, then ultimately the thing is and this is a no, and I think you have to go, but the thing is once you actually start applying this into your life actually grows more than it does when you don't. I like to give the analogy that sometimes you have to pull the bow back. So you have to go backwards before you can go forwards. But when you actually let a bow go, it goes a lot faster to the target with more efficiency.
Yes, I totally hear you when you say that. It's just so awesome to hear your experience and hear that you're the busiest man with these 6 businesses and you still commit to work-life balance so that you can really show up fully in your work and your staff and your family. So that's just beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing this information with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad to be here, and thank you for all that you do.
Wow. This is great information that I hope you can find just one thing of value that you can take right now in this moment and integrate into your life. I want to thank Sarah, Lori, and Adam for sharing their stories. I want to ask you these questions. How do you define life balance, and how does it currently show up in your life, and how has your life improved because of it? Don't worry if you haven't done anything. The important thing is to start asking yourself those questions. You can start today, so don't worry. But you'll need to do some research, and much of this research is soul searching within yourself to figure out what you need most. You want to look at every aspect of your life, your relationships, your career, your financial situation, you want to get a clear picture of what your life looks like so that you can define what life balance means to you by using these 4 important steps. The first step is define what's important to you in your life. The second step is identify the changes that would ensure that what was most important to you would be present in your life every day. The third step is I want you to make, not find the time to integrate these changes into your life right now. So you're going to have to look at the priorities that currently drive your life today. And the fourth step is to pursue these changes with the determination and total commitment as if your life depends on it, because it does. As you heard from Adam, Sarah, and Lori, what you hear is that they are all determined, committed to their work-life integration. So no more excuses. And another key aspect of what it means to living a life in balance is knowing that it's a choice. It's a choice that also gives rise to a series of choices. I invite you to take a deeper look at your life and how you can make it better based on what you truly want, not everyone else, but what you truly want, because you have to put yourself first. Are your thoughts, actions, and choices in alignment with what you want? Do you experience meaning and joy? Do you make choices because they are consistent with the overall path you have chosen for yourself? Or are you simply reacting again and again to life circumstances? I surely hope I gave you some food for thought today in how you can really change your life in a simple way with small, actionable steps that can lead to big changes. And if you want to make some changes right now and you don't know where to start, I recommend that you listen to the Balanced Living for Busy Professionals podcast series archives, which you can find on the website www.balancedlivingforbusyprofessionals.com. You can go to the website, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, you can do that as well. Once you visit the website, and if you know someone that's looking to make changes in your own life, please share this show with them. Anyone can listen to this show. It's so easy to listen while you drive, take the train, while you walk. If you have an electronic device, you can access the show. So tune in for more expert episodes designed to help you improve your life, no matter how busy your schedule. I want to hear from you. Leave your comments, questions, or a voicemail right here on the Balanced Living for Busy Professionals website, or send me an email at feedback@DianeRandallConsults.com. I want you to know that your feedback helps us to bring you the best topics and information to help you create the life you truly want. I want to thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to Balanced Living for Busy Professionals. This podcast is sponsored by DianeRandallConsults.com. If you like this show, the best way to support it is by leaving 5-star feedback on iTunes. And please feel free to email your questions, comments, and suggestions to feedback@DianeRandallConsults.com. Until next week, namaste.